Good morning, my friend. Have you ever looked at your eating habits and thought, I'm not overeating, so why is the weight still creeping up? Or maybe you've tried to eat healthier, cut back a little here and there, but the scale just doesn't seem to cooperate the way it used to. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, most people over 60 face this exact frustration. Your body has changed. Your metabolism isn't quite as forgiving as it was in your 30s or 40s, and what worked back then doesn't always work now. But here's something that might surprise you. It's not always about eating less. It's often about eating differently. In today's conversation, I want to share something simple, practical, and honestly very freeing. We're going to walk through 5 easy food swaps that can quietly remove hundreds, even thousands of calories from your week without leaving you feeling deprived or hungry. No complicated diets, no extreme restrictions, just smarter choices that work with your body instead of against it. And we'll start with something that's hiding in plain sight for most people, sweeteners. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to cut sugar and felt proud of yourself for switching to diet soda, sugar-free snacks, or those little packets you stir into your coffee? Most people think they're doing the right thing there, and I understand why. It sounds logical. Less sugar should mean fewer calories, right? But here's where things get tricky. Some of those so-called better options can actually confuse your body even more. When you consume artificial sweeteners, things like those found in diet sodas or many sugar-free products, your body still tastes sweetness. And when your body tastes sweet, it prepares for sugar. It releases insulin expecting glucose to follow, but then nothing comes. That mismatch can leave your body in a strange state. It can increase cravings. It can make you feel hungrier later. And over time, it can actually push your body towards storing more fat instead of burning it. I've seen many people to sugar-free everything and still struggle with weight, not because they lack discipline, but because their body was being misled. Now, I'm not saying you need to panic or throw everything out today. Remember, we're focusing on progress, not perfection. But a gentle upgrade here can make a real difference. Instead of relying on artificial sweeteners all the time, you might consider more natural options that don't spike your system the same way. Some people do well with plant-based sweeteners like stevia or monk fruit, especially when used in small amounts. And sometimes the simplest shift is just learning to enjoy less sweetness overall. Your taste buds do adapt. What feels not sweet enough today can feel just right in a few weeks. I remember speaking with a gentleman in his early 70s who told me he couldn't imagine drinking coffee without 2 packets of sweetener. A month later, he came back and said, I never thought I'd say this, but I actually enjoy it black now. That's how powerful small changes can be. Now let's gently move into something that surprises a lot of people, fruit. You've probably heard your whole life that fruit is healthy, and that's true. It's natural, colorful, full of vitamins. But here's the part most people don't talk about. Some fruits can work against your goals if you're trying to lose weight, especially at this stage of life. And again, this isn't about fear, it's about understanding. Certain fruits are very high in natural sugars, particularly fructose, and fructose is handled primarily by your liver. When your liver gets overwhelmed, it can start converting that excess into stored fat. Now think about this for a moment. How easy is it to eat a banana, a handful of grapes, or a few pieces of dried fruit? Very easy, right? They go down quickly. They don't fill you up much, and before you know it, you've consumed quite a bit of sugar without feeling satisfied. I've seen people who would never touch a donut, but they'll snack on grapes all afternoon thinking they're making the healthier choice. Again, it's not that these foods are bad, it's about timing and awareness. If your goal right now is to reduce weight or manage your blood sugar, it can help to be a little more selective. Some fruits are much gentler on your system. For example, berries like blueberries or raspberries tend to have less sugar and more fiber. That fiber slows things down, helps you feel full, and supports your digestion. Green apples are another nice option. They're a bit lower in sugar than some of the sweeter varieties, and they offer a satisfying crunch that can curb cravings. And then there are foods people don't always think of as fruit, like avocados, rich, creamy, and incredibly filling. Instead of spiking your blood sugar, they actually help stabilize it and keep you satisfied longer. I often tell people this: if a food keeps you full and steady, it's working for you. If it leaves you hungry again an hour later, it's probably working against you. That's a simple way to start listening to your body. There's also one more thing I want to gently mention here because it catches a lot of people off guard: fruit juice. It seems harmless. It even sounds healthy. A glass of orange juice in the morning feels like a good habit. But when you drink juice, you're getting the sugar from multiple fruits without the fiber that would normally slow things down. It's very easy for that to hit your system all at once, and your body responds accordingly. A small shift here, like choosing whole fruit instead of juice, or even just reducing how often you drink it, can make a noticeable difference over time. Now, I want you to notice something important. We haven't talked about cutting things out completely. We haven't talked about strict rules or feeling restricted. We're simply talking about upgrading little by little, choosing options that support your body instead of stressing it. And when you do that consistently, something interesting happens. Your energy improves, your cravings settle down, and your body starts to cooperate again. That's when weight loss begins to feel less like a battle and more like a natural result. And as we continue, there's another area that plays a huge role in how your body handles weight, energy, and even your mood day to day. It's something many people eat several times a day without thinking twice about it. And small changes here can have an even bigger impact than you might expect. It's something many people eat every single day, sometimes at every meal, and rarely question. I'm talking about grains and carbohydrates. Now, before anything else, let me put your mind at ease. This is not about cutting out carbs completely. You don't need to give up bread forever or swear off pasta for the rest of your life. That kind of thinking often leads to frustration and eventually giving up altogether. What matters far more is the type of carbohydrates you're eating and how your body responds to them now at this stage of life. Let me paint a simple picture for you. Imagine you sit down in the morning and have a bowl of cereal or a couple slices of white toast. It tastes good, it feels light, and you think you've had a decent breakfast. But about an hour or two later, you're already feeling hungry again. Maybe a little low on energy, maybe even a bit irritable. That's not your imagination. That's your body reacting to a quick spike and then a drop in blood sugar. Refined grains like white bread, many breakfast cereals, crackers, and regular pasta are broken down very quickly in your body. They turn into sugar fast. And when that happens, your body releases insulin to manage it. Now, insulin isn't the enemy. It's necessary. But when it spikes quickly and often, it sends a signal to your body to store energy. And that often means storing fat. That's why so many people feel like they're doing okay with their meals, yet still struggle with weight and energy dips throughout the day. The good news is, this is one of the easiest areas to improve without feeling deprived. Instead of reaching for refined grains, you can start looking for options that digest more slowly, foods that have more fiber, foods that keep you steady instead of sending you on that up and down roller coaster. For example, if you enjoy bread, you might look for varieties made from whole grains where the fiber is still intact. Not just labeled multigrain, which can sometimes be misleading, but truly whole or sprouted grains. If you enjoy something warm and comforting, oats can be a better option than sugary cereals, especially when they're less processed. They take longer to digest and can help you feel full longer. But here's something important to remember. Even these better choices can work against you if the portions get too large or if they're paired with lots of added sugars. So again, it's not about perfection, it's about awareness. Now here's where things get even more interesting. There are alternatives that don't just slow things down, they actually help your body work better. You may have heard of things like lentils, chickpeas, or beans. These are technically carbohydrates, but they come with a powerful combination of fiber and protein. That combination helps stabilize your blood sugar, keeps you full, and supports your metabolism. I've spoken with many people who were surprised to find that when they added more of these foods into their meals, they naturally ate less without trying. They simply felt satisfied. And then there are vegetable-based options that can gently replace some of the heavier carbs without making you feel like you're missing out. Things like cauliflower rice, zucchini noodles, or even roasted vegetables used as a base for your meals. They provide volume, texture, and nourishment without the same impact on your blood sugar. One woman I spoke with told me she started swapping half of her usual pasta with zucchini noodles. She didn't eliminate what she loved, she just adjusted it. And over time, that small change added up. That's the theme I want you to keep coming back to, small upgrades. Now let's move into something that often gets misunderstood, especially with all the mixed messages out there. Fats and oils. For years, many people were told that fat was the problem, that eating fat would make you gain fat. So they switched to low-fat products, avoided butter, and tried to cut fat wherever possible. But what we've learned over time is a little more nuanced. Not all fats are created equal. Some fats can actually support your body, help you feel full, and even assist with weight management. Others can quietly work against you even if everything else in your diet seems clean. Let's talk about the ones that can cause trouble. Many common cooking oils, especially those used in processed foods and restaurants, are highly refined and rich in certain types of fats that your body doesn't handle well in large amounts. These oils are often used because they're cheap and shelf-stable, but when consumed regularly, they can contribute to inflammation in the body and may interfere with how your cells function. And when your cells aren't functioning well, your metabolism doesn't run as smoothly either. That can make it harder for your body to burn fat efficiently. Now, again, this isn't about fear. It's about making more supportive choices where you can. There are oils that tend to be gentler on the body. For example, olive oil is a common favorite, especially when used in moderation and not overheated. Avocado oil is another option that holds up well for cooking. And then there are more traditional fats that many people grew up with, like butter or ghee. When used appropriately, these can be satisfying and help you feel full, which often leads to eating less overall. That's something many people don't expect. When your meals are satisfying, you don't feel the need to snack constantly. Your body feels nourished, not deprived. I remember a woman in her late 60s who told me she had spent years avoiding fats completely. She was always hungry, always thinking about food. When she slowly reintroduced better quality fats into her meals, she said something shifted. "I'm finally full," she told me. "I don't feel like I'm fighting myself anymore." That's a powerful place to be, and as we keep moving forward, there's one more area that often goes unnoticed, even by people who are trying their best to eat well. It's something we consume throughout the day, sometimes without even thinking of it as part of our diet, and it can quietly add more calories than almost anything else. It's something we sip on while watching television, something we grab on the way out the door, something we enjoy with meals or in the afternoon when we feel a little tired. And yet, most people don't think of it as part of their daily calorie intake in any serious way. I'm talking about beverages. Now, let me ask you something simple. Think back over your day yesterday, not just what you ate, but what you drank. Coffee, tea, juice, maybe a soda, maybe something flavored that felt light and harmless. Those little choices can add up far more than most people realize. One of the biggest hidden sources of extra calories, especially after 60, is what we drink. Because unlike food, drinks don't fill you up in the same way. You can take in a surprising amount of sugar or artificial ingredients without ever feeling satisfied. Let's start with something very common, soda. A regular soda can contain a large amount of sugar in just one serving. And since it's liquid, it moves quickly through your system. Your blood sugar rises fast, insulin follows, and your body is pushed towards storing that excess energy rather than using it. Now, many people switch to diet soda thinking it's the better option. And again, I understand why. It seems like a smart move. But as we talked about earlier with sweeteners, those artificial ingredients can still send mixed signals to your body. You taste sweetness, your body prepares for sugar, and over time, that can increase cravings and make it harder to regulate your appetite. I've heard people say, "I don't eat much, but I still can't lose weight." And when we look a little closer, we often find that beverages are playing a bigger role than expected. Then there are drinks that sound healthy on the surface, like fruit juices, sweetened teas, or flavored waters. A glass of juice, for example, can contain the sugar from several pieces of fruit, but without the fiber that would normally slow things down. It hits your system quickly, much like soda, even though it feels like a healthier choice. Sweetened teas and flavored drinks can do something similar. They may not always taste overly sweet, but they often contain added sugars or ingredients that your body still responds to in a similar way. So what can you do instead? This is where small, simple changes can make a big difference. Water is always a strong foundation. It sounds basic, but staying well hydrated supports your metabolism, your digestion, and your overall energy. Sometimes what feels like hunger is actually your body asking for water. If plain water feels a bit boring, you can add slices of lemon or lime. It gives a refreshing taste without adding sugar, and many people find it helps them drink more consistently throughout the day. Tea can also be a great option, especially when it's unsweetened. Herbal teas can be soothing in the evening. Green tea, in particular, has been associated with supporting metabolism and helping your body use fat more efficiently. Coffee can also have a place, especially if you enjoy it. The key is how you prepare it. When it's filled with sugar, syrups, and flavored creamers, it becomes more like a dessert than a simple drink. But when kept simple, perhaps with just a little cream, it can be part of your routine without working against your goals. I once spoke with a gentleman who loved his morning coffee, but didn't realize how much sugar he was adding each day. When he gradually reduced it, not all at once, but step by step, he found that his taste adjusted. And without changing much else, he began to notice a difference in both his energy and his weight. That's the kind of change we're talking about here. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just steady improvements. And when you look at everything we've talked about together, sweeteners, fruits, carbohydrates, fats, and beverages, you begin to see a pattern. It's not about removing everything you enjoy. It's about choosing options that support your body rather than stress it. At this stage of life, your body responds differently than it used to. It appreciates stability. It thrives when blood sugar is balanced, when meals are satisfying, and when you're not constantly riding that cycle of spikes and crashes. And the beautiful part is this: when you start making these small adjustments, your body often responds in ways that feel almost surprising. You may notice you're not as hungry between meals, your energy feels more steady, cravings that used to feel strong begin to fade, and over time your weight starts to shift, not because you forced it, but because you supported your body properly. That's a much more peaceful way to approach health. So, if there's one thing I'd like you to take with you today, it's this: you don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't need to follow strict rules or punish yourself with extreme diets. You just need to take one step at a time, one small upgrade, one better choice. Maybe it's choosing water instead of a sugary drink today. Maybe it's swapping out one processed snack for something more filling. Maybe it's simply becoming more aware of what your body is telling you. Those small steps matter and they add up. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these changes feels easiest for you to start with? Or maybe you've already tried something like this and noticed a difference. Your experience could encourage someone else who's just getting started. If you found this helpful, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more we can explore together. Simple ways to feel better, stay active, and enjoy life fully at any age. Because the truth is, it's never too late to feel stronger, lighter, and more in control of your health. Here's to taking that next step at your own pace and feeling better with each day that passes.